Hey, and welcome back. This is One Soul Talks. It's been a minute. I hope you're well, and let's reintroduce what One Soul Talks is about when it comes down to the nitty gritty of a person's character, integrity, self love. Everything that entails that. Or whether it's the hard stuff to talk about, the good, the bad, everything. You get to see it all right here, raw, authentic, and nothing to really hide, to be honest with you. So, with this return of an episode, I should say, I've been on a huge hiatus. I'm going to be really, really blunt and say that there were moments that I genuinely was lost. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what direction. I knew of a direction, but I didn't know for sure because had this fear. The fear of not knowing, the fear of not knowing because of the lack of control. Does that make sense? It really came down to trusting the fact that I have a vision, which I've known how to get to XYZ, but it's actually taking those initial steps to go on that path. And when it came down to it, I had a lot of fear. And as these months have progressed already from January 2025, I've slowly become more and more and more myself. And it is really due to the fact of I'm not really used to having people who support the things that I do. And with this new, I don't want to say crowd, these new creatives that I've had the opportunity to get to know, it makes me feel how I did back in 2020, 2019, 2020, when I was originally living in Vegas during the peak of COVID shutdown. At the time, I was working at Carlos Bake Shop in the Venetian across from Buddy V's. And I'll never forget, but they let us take home all the desserts. Yes, I was excited because do you know how much those desserts are? $5.95 for a lobster tail. $5.95, girl, for one lobster tail. And barely a discount was like 10-15%. Girl. But by the end of night shifts, we got to take home whatever was going to get thrown away. So, hey, I was eating good. I'm going to always eat good. I got that unlocked. But the main point of that story was the fact of back then I was creating a lot more portraits. And that's where I kind of got really, really, really dedicated to color grading when it came to photography. I've been doing photography for as long as I can remember, but I would say 2017 or 2018, 2019, 2020 was when I got the peak of it. And now it's come back around full circle. And I'm not really looking for validation at all. It's just the mere fact of support from like-minded creatives who we push each other to keep creating because we know what it's like when we feel stuck, when we feel blocked. That is the most important part. And you want to know what my favorite part is? No matter who it is, no matter what they're doing, it's as long as, they're maintaining a level of happiness within themselves. Yes, I think about it on a soul level because I've always thought about, like, I don't personally want to be stuck in the same position at the age of 40. You know what I mean? And I've always strived to be better. I've always strived to create better, no matter what it came down to. I was always doing something. And I now realize that the way I speak of things and the way my voice is for someone who doesn't talk a lot, I relish and I can be a real influence when it comes to the thought process of just, I don't want to say right from wrong, but more or less of a human influence, I guess you should say. The reason why I even say all this and the reason why this podcast may be boring, but that's because it's a peaceful, calm place. It's a safe place. I don't do drama. I don't do chaotic. Sometimes my energy is a little forward. I understand that. And whoever can't digest that, that's fine. That is completely fine. Go find whatever's going to make you happy, whatever's going to make you laugh, whatever the case may be. Personally, I have tried and continue to move out of people pleasing. That was one of the biggest things that I had to learn throughout all of this. And when it comes to creative stuff, when it comes to skincare stuff, whenever it comes to a certain hobby that I take up, it always really comes back to mental health. No matter what it is, no matter it always comes back to mental health. And whether we are conditioned to think said things about our own selves, or, some people didn't have it as bad. I don't want to say it was grandiose, but people had both parents in their life, like from birth. Some people didn't. So it really plays a role. And I really love discussing what it comes down to human behavior, morals, philosophy, everything, like I mentioned before. So the point being is how I got from point A to point B in this creative journey and the purpose of this podcast. I don't make it for the ones who aren't willing to learn from anybody who is trying to shine light on something valuable, because I am a student, would love to learn something, anything. You show me a different way to do something, what can we do to crank it up to make it a little better? That's how I am. Teamwork. But also at the same time, what are we doing to elevate what the goal is? You know what I mean? Make it a little better, make it look like it needs something. Because when I see a design, when I see something, sometimes it's a little bit of a control issue. I'm working on it. But I can just see it kind of, I don't know why. Okay. I genuinely do not know why. But I know everyone has their own journey to figure things out on their own. And that's more like, I just actually go on that journey. That's my big thing. Okay. Where are we at? Okay, so we're at 10:31. We're actually doing pretty well on time. I guess I really needed to do this because I'm not gonna lie to you. I have been bitch. I have kind of been delaying making another episode, but something has been brewing in me. And there's also a few other things that I want to tell you about me. I am going to be the friend who you may not want to hear something from me. But I'm also respectable in the way of I know the time or place. I know when to tell you something. I know when not to tell you something, And I want whoever I'm surrounded with, I want them to strive and win at their highest, best version of themselves. Whatever that version is that is making them happy and fulfilling that life for them. You want to know why? Because not everyone is going to support that. Not everyone wants to see anybody win above them. Personally, I don't care what level anybody is at. What are you like in here? Okay. Tell me that first. Show me that first. Then, I mean, regardless, that is going to make it true to what you're striving for 10 times possible for you, no matter what. Because somebody could be arrogant, somebody could do this, somebody could do that, somebody could be all of these perfect things, but the lack of compassion, empathy, anything like that for the stuff that they have built up with the people they have built it up with, that's literally living in an empty big house. Just to say you have a big house. That's literally what it is. But experiencing certain things, I've noticed that it was never about house. It was about what you can make to make the house happen. Does that make sense? What it took to get there, the process, the people who pushed you to get to that point. What I'm saying is Tell me who you are and show me who you are first. I don't care what you got. I don't care what you have. Like, I don't respectfully care. Yeah, sure, you have all of these things, but your character is going to speak more to a real person than anything else. And that is my biggest discernment when it comes to anybody I'm meeting. Good, bad. I say this and I say this for the mere fact of, when are we going to stop entertaining momentary people who are there for the moment, who are there, like, when do we invest? When do we pour into actually real, authentic people? That's what I want. That is the point of anything I'm trying to do. It's always the crowd, the people. What are we doing as a collective to build better for all of us? Whether it's together as a team, whether it's individually, push each other to get to that point. I am so serious. As cliche as it sounds, as corny as it sounds, I don't give a I don't care, okay? Because not everybody has somebody like that at all. And that is one of the hardest things to ever try to wrap your brain around, because you know within yourself that you have this flame that you just can't seem to get rid of, I should say. And sometimes it's just there, and it's almost like a feeling you can't help but make something every day. Think of a thought every single day. Well, technically everybody does, but I mean, make something out of it. This is why sometimes you'll see on my Instagram stories is that I don't know who needs to hear this, or I feel like something's heavy on my brain, but XYZ. Like the other day I had posted, you, whether you're in a relationship or not, you are always your individual person way before you got together with somebody. Seriously, what? And this includes kids too, which it does make it a lot harder. But the point of it was the fact that we all are guilty of getting caught up with whoever we end up, you know, courting or being with for like the first technically 3 months. And then some of the friends that we knew or the people we were trying to, build stuff up with kind of die off. And now we don't know where that other person is. Like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Just go ahead, leave. And that says a lot about a person. But also at the same time, do I want to forgive that person? No, on a technicality, I don't, because you could have told me that, one, you didn't want to be friends no more. Two, you could have just had a conversation. And it's really not that difficult unless you really didn't want to have a conversation that you knew something should have came about. What I mean by that is you didn't want to say bye to the friend. And sometimes it's like, because you're trying to protect what you have with somebody, but you're already basing the assumption that that the friend wouldn't respect that, because they respect you as a person. Like, where is that? I said what I said. Those are just mere examples of the things I enjoy talking about, because I'm just going to call it out for what it is. I'm not ever going to say and claim that I was ever perfect, that I am ever perfect, because I'm not. I'm learning every single day, and I'm by myself 24/7. Besides that slim, thick, what the hell? The way he's laying is astronomically interesting. He hurt his leg earlier, but because we were playing with the ball and I think he might have stepped on it wrong, so he's just tired. Okay. But like I said, the point of it all is to learn something. I believe that's why I am here. I am one of the aspects to help anybody I possibly can, with the voice I have, with the experience I have, with the knowledge I have. That's all I ever want to do. That's all I've done, period. No matter who it came to, no matter what the situation was, like nothing tames when it comes to someone confiding in me. I actually have a lot of people who do confide in me, but it's never ever my place to talk about it. It's never, it's not my business. Because in that mere moment, they needed someone to vent to. I'm serious. Like, I will try to check on somebody from time to time but also at the same time, who's checking on me? That's one of the biggest factors. And I think that is where the boundaries have to come in from, you know? But also, it's also I said that like 2 times. It's also the understanding of like life. You know, sometimes people don't want to talk. Sometimes people can't digest the raw, real shit. And I understand that. But also, I do communicate that I don't play about people's mental health or people's emotions or anything of that matter because it's important to me because I know what it's like. I would never ever speak on something if I didn't know what the experience and the consequences were for myself. Time and time again, another reason why I think or why I believe I'm supposed to help people in a manner of using my voice. Even though in public I don't really talk as much unless, I get comfortable with you. And again, I've always had a big heart to help people, whether it was physically help people, or anything. Like, it's in my nature. And if I could be the person who lifts up people who I never may know that they're on the last leg and they need something. They need that hope. They need that love. They need those words. And I say them from a place that of experience with that person in the mere moments we've had that outshine anything. And I don't want them to ever forget that. That's where it comes from. And I am so serious because, again, I do not play about people's mental health. I do not play about what people are trying to do for their own lives. I do not play about it. And people think that this is some kind of mumbo jumbo because they're not used to people like this. This is the point. This is my goal, is to become the change that I want to see in the world. That's really what it is. And that's on T. Nello Calm, sponsor this. I'm serious because, and Body Armor, sponsor this shit because I love you. And you, Nello Calm, somebody cooked, okay? And I love y'all. And Poppy, I got this from a store that I cannot mention, but somebody at Poppy loves me. Let's get it. Oh, and DJI, I love, I love, love. I got 2 of them right here. Okay. Now you probably want to get to the nitty gritty of the point of this podcast episode. And it's crazy because I'm normally would have made it an hour long. And the rest of this might make it an hour long podcast. So if you leave before then, I appreciate you nonetheless. I am going to take a break before I get into it all, okay? And it's more than okay to have this playing on in the background while you're doing dishes. And I would love to know if the sound quality is up to par. Quality when it comes to over quantity matters to me the most, except for when it comes to pictures, I overshoot, and content, I overdo. And sometimes don't ever post. I'm working on it. I'm trying. I'm a one-woman show. Okay? Cut. Roll it back. And we are back. Welcome. And I apologize for the sudden burst of energy, but I was doom scrolling and then I got carried away and then now I'm here. Drink your electrolytes, drink water, eat food, go to the bathroom, do what you gotta do. Okay? We in this together. In here, Nello, calm. You will be sponsoring this one day. I'm serious. Because somebody cooked here with that powder. Although that those bigger bags that are on TikTok shop, those need to come into actual stores. I don't want to wait. I'm impatient. That's why I need them. Okay, let's go. So when it came down to actually finding my true self, finding my true north, finding what makes me who I am as just me, it took me a really, really long time to finally fully say that who I am in this present moment is 10 times more my truest self than I ever have been my previous versions of myself. And if you understand what that means, it's more or less of I don't feel like I have to hide myself, around from people judging what I have to say, what I'm doing, what I'm not doing, because I've always had somebody structure and be strict on every move I made. And it never felt like I had the room to grow as a child, adolescent, anything like that. When it comes down to it, it was more or less like I never could trust myself enough to do what I wanted to do. No matter what it came down to, no matter what it looked like to anybody else. And this is what I'm finding out right now in this moment on this day, that my life is not supposed to look like anybody else's. The way I do things, the way I attract things is not supposed to be a normal way for somebody else to get money, to make friends, to make, like, there are different ways to live an individual's life. And that's to each their own. And I never really knew that until a complete year out of that relationship I was in for nearly a decade. Now, I've been preparing myself to discuss a little bit more about that and how I even came to be. But I first really, really wanted to reintroduce myself in this way of full transparency, getting back into this podcast era. Okay. And I appreciate you regardless. I appreciate you for the support. I appreciate you in more ways, whether it's showing love through anything I post on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. I only keep Snapchat, honestly, because it has memories on there for me. And yeah. Okay. So going alongside with, at this big age, at this time and moment, I feel more secure in myself than I ever have been. And that, for me, is a lot. That means so much more than anything anybody could offer me. I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. I've felt like I'm, in a way, kind of nurturing what I want to set up for my life. And I've always known it in my bones. It's just that now is more of a clear path and a clear version of it that makes it more feasible. And it was all really coming down to believing every ounce of my own being. And growing up, I was always fearful. Having a mom who was strict and I was kind of sheltered made that fear a lot bigger than what it actually needed to be. Her main focus was that she didn't want her daughters to get pregnant like the way she did at a young age and end up in the same situation she did. I grew up seeing family members do things, go through things, and end up in situations that I never wanted to be in, honestly. That was one of the biggest lessons I could ever not forget. And I didn't want my life to end up in a way that I couldn't provide for others. That's one of my biggest things, is helping others, providing for others, whether it came to knowledge, monetary value, inspiration, lifting up people when they're like, when they need it the most. Like, that is my ambition. That is my truest nature at my core. And if you want to believe that it's something other than that, then you don't really know who I am. Nor have you ever given the time, dedication to find out who I am at the core. That's just what it is. And if you come up with your own presumptions of who I am, you didn't give me a chance. You already knocked that out for me. And that alone is disrespectful. Because if I have shown you something that didn't sit right with you, you're more than welcome to come and talk to me about it. I open the conversation. Like, I open the freedom and the safe space to talk about anything and everything. I never used to be like that. Now I am, because it taught me that pushing away people when I wanted people around me the most was my own detriment. So why would I want to treat somebody like that if I want to hold people near to my heart because I care about people, when I actually, like, I really care. I'll go to the end of the earth for you, just to help you. But this is where the lack of boundaries took place and the people pleasing took place. So now I take it with a grain of salt, but still wholesome and full of nurture and nature. Okay. That was really good. I'm going to write that down. 8:30. So overall, this episode description is kind of basically becoming me, the version I had to leave behind. And that's really where all that other stuff came from. When growth calls us forward, we have to often say goodbye to our old versions of ourselves. This episode explores the bittersweet process of outgrowing who we once were, grieving that past self, and stepping bravely into who we are becoming. I have this on a teleprompter. It's everything that's been written out for me. So if you see me go back and forth, it's because I don't want to forget anything that is written down, typed out, because all of it is very valuable. And that's really what I want to bring to the audience. And that's very important to me. I pretty much already opened up with the rawness of my personal reflection on realizing my old identity that no longer fits who I am trying to become. It can feel like a birth and a death within the same breath. To let go of that person becoming a better version of yourself, one that doesn't feel normal, one that doesn't feel comfortable, one that maybe feels out of your realm to even acknowledge, live through date on the daily, exert that energy to other people and your inner circle. And some people are not going to understand it. Sometimes that's where you can tell where you have a real friend or you have a sideline friend. To me, what a friend is someone who continues to push you to your highest self, but also knowing when you need help when it comes to just there's something that you need venting about or someone you need a shoulder to lean on. Like no matter what, to me, that is a true friend. You're a true friend. Hannah Montana. Yeah. That it was just kind of to coincide with that. I'm gonna acknowledge by saying goodbye to who I once was, who we once were. Like I said, it can be painful, it can be heavy, but also knowing and understanding and empathizing that it's okay. It's okay to let go. It's okay to move on. It's okay to live up to your own standards of your own life, not according to anybody else's idea of your life and how it should play out. And know that with that pain of saying goodbye to the old version of you, also, experience that ending of a chapter. Don't push it down. Grieve it in your own timing. Don't rush it. Don't ignore it. If you ignore it, it'll just come out in other ways. It could very well come out in a way that you clutch to something that is a bad habit that could detriment your health. Vice versa. If you, for example, take that energy and that built up, I don't know what the correct term is, but that built up energy that is just in you and you have no way to exert it, just like people going to the gym. They have something in them that they want to get off their chest, but they don't really want to talk about it, so they work it out. Or they just know that something competitively, repeatedly can kind of exercise that muscle when it comes to not having somebody. From experience of going to the gym, I've noticed that. I've also noticed something else, but I ain't gonna talk about it. But it is all a part of the growth process. And it's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to be everything but anything but comfortable. But it's worth it. It's worth it because you'll now know who you want to be surrounded with, involved with, be with, and what you want for your future. And that future version deserves every ounce of the fight you have to get to that point. That was good too. And you won't ever really recognize a shift when it comes down to it, but you'll know something's off, something's different. You're thinking about other things that are very different from what you used to think about. And it's very common to carry around an old label. For example, if you're still living in your hometown, you're known as that person, that kid, someone else's kid, like, or someone's kid. So that's kind of the only conversation they'll have, is checking up on you, checking up on the parent, And sometimes you don't want to be just known for being someone's kid. You want to be known for more. You want to be known for the version of you that you've conjured up that has what you always wanted. It's just that, how are you going to get there? I hope that made sense, because it made sense as I was saying it. And I would say the ratio between people who eventually find that those old identities, those old versions of themselves that they've carried so long, I should say, no longer fit, again, where we're trying to go, what we're trying to do in our own lives. So, and it doesn't necessarily mean or go to one prior thing. It could be within a relationship, a job, career, like no matter what. Grieving and letting go when it comes to everything to correspond with working out, exerting those pent up energies that you have within you are molding you into a better version of yourself, the one you're trying to fight for, the one has everything you've ever desired, wanted, knew you could possibly have. And change is something that not everyone's used to. And it is kind of confusing sometimes. It's not always positive. But why would you rather risk the future version for this old version of you? Why? Like, why? Because that old version of you is comfortable. It had this, it had that taken care of, and you didn't have no stress. I understand how easy it sounds. I understand how easy it could be just to go back. But again, you're risking that future version, that future life, for that old version. You already know the outcome. You already know the daily routine. And unless you're someone of that routine who enjoys stuff like that, you won't care. You won't mind settling for that version in that era. And that's completely fine. Whatever is going to make you happy at the end of the day, and till you reach, your old age. The biggest thing a lot of elders, I would say, is that they ever regret is not doing what they knew they could have done when they were younger. It's one of the biggest things. When it came to embracing the new me, I mentioned earlier, was shifting the empowerment of it all is so liberating to this current version of myself. I really would not change it. Anything that took place, any pain I got, any pain I caused, no matter what, I really would not change anything, because I feel more in my nurtured nature self right now, that I don't have any restraints on me right now creatively. And that's really what I want to build off of, just making things, when it comes to just the way I think, the way I talk, the way I process, the way I'm able to articulate certain words and make it what? At least most of the time, make it make sense. And again, truly, genuinely wanting to help people who are willing to listen and, sit here with me for about an hour a day. Like I said, even if this is on the background, no matter what, if you learn something from me, then I've mastered the goal. Another big thing is that we cannot fully step into ourselves and who we're meant to be if we keep holding on to what used to be. So I highly encourage celebrating the effort and the hard work it took to make a change, whether it's a drastic change, whether it's a small itty bitty change each and every day that makes you progress better and better and better and better and better. That's more than what it was the other day, last week, last year. So no matter how small the wins are, no matter how big the wins are, you're worth celebrating. I promise you that much. Okay? So don't forget to celebrate yourself. Don't forget to give gratitude and compassion to yourself to celebrate what it took to get to this point, because we never know what tomorrow is. We never know what tomorrow brings. And with that comes the closing of this episode with a reminder and an affirmation and some few key things. I would love to remind you that it's okay to outgrow the parts of yourself. All of this is a universal human experience. You're going to make mistakes. It's just that with those mistakes, what are you learning from them? And if you don't learn anything from them, you're bound to repeat those same mistakes until you keep not changing what you're doing, what you're contributing to. And nothing is going to change until you do. I'm going to say that again. Nothing in your life is going to change until you make that conscious change, because you want to. Not for anybody else, because if you do it for anybody else, you didn't really do it for you. And you're going to end up in a situation that you're not happy at the end of the day. After putting in a lot of hours, a lot of work, what is the point if you don't end up where you know in here and your gut where you could be? What is the point? I said what I said. Honoring the old version does not mean losing your history. It means choosing your future. That leaving that old version of yourself is an act of self-love and honesty, even if it hurts, because it allows the person you're becoming to live fully as they're meant to. I want to leave you with this. Although the rest of that concludes the episode, this is going to wrap it up. These few journal prompts, whether you journal, vent to somebody, or you type it out on a phone, whatever the case may be, do whatever fits you, whatever works for you. Can you identify a part of your old self you've had to let go? And how did it feel? Journal about what that version gave you and why it had to change. Here's another one. Write a letter to the old you you're leaving behind, expressing gratitude or forgiveness. I truly want that to help you in the best of light, not to negate any progress you've made. So if you aren't comfortable with putting forth that kind of energy on pen and paper, that is completely fine. Do it in your own time. Don't do it at all. The point of it is to allow yourself that freedom of thought to know where things either need to change or not change, or implement or not implement, So that's what we're going to leave with. Everything. When it comes to social media, I post on TikTok, and OneSoulTALKS does have a TikTok page. Same name, same everything. I also do a fun TikTok. I have a skincare page TikTok. I am on Instagram, but that's mainly for my photography photos. So, and a little bit of this. And if y'all keep seeing my face everywhere, just know I am trying, okay? I'm pouring every ounce of energy I got within me to make it somewhere. So even if you don't enjoy the voice, even if you didn't listen to the whole entire thing, that's more than okay. Even if you share it, that would very much help me reach other people to help them in a way that I don't see anybody doing at all. Okay, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to run it up. And I'm going to see you when I see you. Follow anything and everything that I do. If you want to. If you don't, may you live long and prosper. Peace.